Hello everyone, and welcome to another Starcraft 2 match. This is actually going to be a live match, but the commentary won't be live. I'm going to commentate this after the fact. Made a couple attempts at playing and commentating at the same time, and they just failed pretty hard, but I figured this is just as good. You get to see what I'm doing, and yeah. Well, I think this is, what's this one of these new maps? Shakuris Plateau or something? I don't know. I kind of stopped playing ladder right around the time these maps came out, so... This is a TvT, and I haven't played it TvT properly, and I'd say probably 3-4 weeks. 3 weeks, maybe? So I'm a little rusty. I'm actually contemplating doing Ravens here, just because I'm so used to doing it. I'm like, no, let's try to remember my old build order. So what I do like to do in TvTs is go mass air. No barracks units, no mech units. No anything but air units, and I'm not talking Ravens. I'm talking Banshees. So I'm going to start off with 2-port Banshees, and then I'm going to transition into a massive air force. And I kind of find what that does is it gives you like as close to an experience of a Zerg player as possible. Because I was thinking about it, and it more or less makes you like a Zerg player. Once I have the mobile Banshee force, I get to own the map. I can be anywhere at any time, harassing on different sides, keeping him contained in. Anytime he wants to move out, he's going to have to deal with like this mass of missiles from overhead. And during that time, I get to go out and expand everywhere. And then around mid-game, he'll be strong enough to push out, where he doesn't have to worry about the Banshees, and that's why I'm kind of susceptible and have to make some good decisions in the battles. So then once I reach Tier 3, game over, battlecruisers. And that's more or less how it works for Zerg too. I mean, they get to have like the speedlings and the mutalisks to keep you completely contained while they take over the map, and then you get to make your mid-game push, and then late game they pop up the Tier 3 units, which if they still got their giant economy will completely overrun you. You can see that sometimes I still click on buttons rather than hotkeys. I do know the hotkeys, I just sometimes don't press it. It's just like sometimes I look at my fingers when I type, even though I don't have to. I don't know why I do that. This isn't going to be my best macro game ever, that's for sure. I am out of practice, but I'm happy enough with how this went. I was probably expecting worse. I did play like a King of the Hill last night, and it was pretty bad. Almost every match I was not doing well. I mean, I luckily won my matches, but mostly just from my opponent's mistakes. I was like supply capping myself at every single supply depot. Every supply count you could reach, I was supply capping myself. But at least I did shove Ravens down their throat, which is pretty cool. So Axe Cop, my opponent, is kind of mid-range diamond, where I'm around the same. As I hadn't played in a few weeks, I think I've lost like my first 5 or 6 ladder matches. In fact, even while I was practicing my Raven build, I accidentally started a couple ladder matches and I just quit them. I don't know, I'm just so used to being on the multiplayer screen, just hitting, join game, or not join game, but hit the, whatever the level one is for ladder games. So I do scan my X-Cop opponent, and I see he's going to have a starport up before my Banshees can arrive. So I'm going to do... not going to start with Banshees. Instead, I'm going to start with... sorry, brain fart. I'm going to start with Vikings. I'm just going to send some Vikings straight at his starport. That way, if he pops up with like 1 Viking, I'll be able to take it down with my 2. Or if he makes if he makes anything, I'll be able to take it down with 2 Vikings, more or less. But I also noticed there is a tech lab going on his factory, so he might swap them out, and go for a Banshee. So if that's the case, it would be nice to snipe his Banshee as soon as it pops. And then I'm going to follow it up with 2 Banshees after these 2 Vikings. Also taking these Xel'Nagas as we speak. Rather than sending 1 Marine to each Xel'Naga, what I do is I send both Marines to the first Xel'Naga, and then shift-click one of them to the second Xel'Naga. That way, if there happens to be 1 Marine at the first Xel'Naga, I'll have 2 attacking it. Even makes sense sometimes to send out 3 Marines for that reason. Send 3 to the first one, 2 to the second one, and then pull 1 back home. Little things like that will help you win the battles at these Xel'Naga towers. And if it is one-on-one Marines, usually the guy who has the Marine already there will win the battle, just because he'll have the extended sight range and be able to get the first shot off. Looks like I was supply capped there for a little while and I didn't even notice, so instead of popping out 2 Banshees, I only popped out 1. That's not good. I'm working on my expansion, and I'm kind of under the impression that he's working on his as well. And having seen no movement from the Xel'Nagas, I'm pretty sure he's building in his natural expansion. Especially on this map, since it's so easy to defend this natural expansion. You got that high ground, you got the small 1-ramp entrance, you got the even higher ground from your main base overlooking that entrance.
Armed and ready.
Not enough minerals.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Not enough minerals.
Roger. Bad news. Ready to plunder. You're the boss.
I'd say my SCVs are close enough to that bunker that I don't need to leave a SCV actually on a repair patrol there. Although I think I put one back later on just because I find it handy. That way I can just send my air units back there and I don't have to think about it. I just know they're getting repaired in the background. It's kind of on the fence of what to build here. Decided to go with planetary.
Big job, SCV ready.
And I'm going to lose all my Vikings. At least he wasted a PDD there. He was going to win that battle easily anyways. It's funny, my first instinct when I just went to that battle was hit cloak, and I realized I never even researched it. Whoops.
What's going on? Yeah.
So obviously at a point like this, when you're going mass air, you need to be able to only air superiority, and I have no Vikings, so priority 1 is pump Vikings nonstop. Gotta get that air superiority back. Also, since I know I don't have the air superiority, it's time to get down some missile turrets.
Your dime.
Base is under attack. Our SCVs are under attack.
Looks like I got a little bit lucky in that battle. He mostly sat inside my fortress range, and looks like his Vikings didn't actually... I don't know, I only had 2 Vikings out. I know he had at least probably, what, 4 or 5. Maybe they didn't arrive for that battle. This is just a mid-range diamond player. I've dropped down to like 30-something in the ladder, so I think he was like 50th in his division. Trying to keep the bunker between myself and those Vikings, and those are probably the Vikings that didn't show up for the first fight. Second attempt to gain down that frontline missile turret.
Ready to plunder.
I'm not sure if I've upgraded yet, but it's probably a good idea to get range for the missile turret. It'll also give me range on my fortresses, and I just find it's a really awesome upgrade. Especially versus Vikings, it almost gives them the same range as the Viking, which is pretty helpful. But again, I'm not able to harass here because I totally fell behind in Viking count, which really sucks. That's a little thank you to some of you on YouTube. I know you guys have mentioned it, and I started playing around with those sensor towers, and I do find them handy. One thing I've noticed is that it tells your opponent when you have it. It shows up on the minimap, like the big gray circle that you get for your range. It shows up on his minimap too, whether he scouts it or not. So that's kind of a downside of those sensor towers. But at the same time, on a map like this, it gives me coverage even on my back door and my front door. Such an awesome map for this. There's basically no way you can get on my base without an early warning.
Upgrade complete.
I don't know if you saw that, maybe just rewind a touch, but that Banshee that's sitting on my front line, it's sitting right on the cliff edge, and when it's sitting on the cliff edge, SCVs won't repair it. So I got an SCV at my bunker on auto repair, and it's not going to repair that red Banshee just because it's sitting on the edge. So I see that he only has 4 Vikings, and I'm like, I can take down that air, and once that air is down, I can follow it up with the Banshees and clear up the ground. So I decide that my Banshees follow my Vikings, and then I lead with my Vikings on A move. This was definitely a mistake. He decides to push. I mean, yeah, you're going to lose the majority of that force if you retreat, but at least you'll save a little bit of it. Like, you're not going to get anything done doing that. If he retreated, he might have saved a tank or two, maybe a Marauder. I mean, yeah, I would have devastated him in the retreat, because Banshees are much faster than those units, but I don't know, that seemed pretty dumb to me. I'm just trying to pull out all my units except for that one hurt Banshee. But he pulls his force away. Well, there's still 1 unit left. May as well take that out.
You ready for war?
Yeah, I got this.
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
And realizing my macro is slipping pretty hard during those battles, as per usual.
I got my ears
So I gotta get on top of spending my money.
done and done.
Also notice I had already thrown down a fusion core. That's in anticipation for Thors. As soon as I get any sign of him pumping out Thors, I'm going to immediately switch to battlecruisers. Because Thors do pretty well versus Banshees, but battlecruisers absolutely own Thors. Even after the nerf to battlecruisers attack versus ground, it's still huge. Because Thors basically can't hurt battlecruisers once you get the armor upgrades. So at this point is kind of hunting for expansions. I want to keep him from getting his 3rd.
This better be good.
And maybe harass a bit, because I know I probably have the Viking edge still. But again, I should be building. Oh, there we go. Oh, you know, I actually started building for my starports. Usually whenever I'm attacking, I forget to do everything else. Sniping the Raven as soon as possible. That was actually lucky. If I start the battle, sometimes I can snipe the Raven, but if he's the one starting the battle like he did there, there's really no excuse for him not to get a PDD down in time, unless he didn't have the energy for it.
I got my ears on.
So it looks like he's turreted up pretty well here, so I'm just going to snipe the first turret, and then just hold position somewhere safe where I'm outside the range of the rest of his turrets. Here comes the infantry, and that's my cue to get the heck out of here.